Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exclusive Breaking Lines interview. I'm Zach Lowy, the co-creator of Breaking Lines, here today with Joao Moutinho, who joins us from Orlando City. How are you today, Joao?
Very good, Zach. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
So I know you've missed the past few weeks with an injury. You made your return starting lineup against Philadelphia Union last week, and recently grabbed an assist in a U.S. Open Cup match. How are you feeling physically? How was it like, dealing with that injury? And yeah, just how was it getting back to action?
I feel really good. I stopped for maybe a couple of weeks, so the stoppage wasn't really all that long. So I still feel really fit, and getting back out there and helping out the team. It's the most important thing for me, and I feel really good. And yesterday we got that really important win, as you said, against the Red Bulls in the Open Cup semifinals. So right now we have one more match to go to lift that trophy, and that's what matters.
One more match to go to lift that trophy. Currently, Orlando doing fairly well, similar to how they've been doing in the past few years, around the top 5-6 teams in the East. I'm curious, are there any things that you feel are different about this Orlando team, in regards to the playing style, in regards to the mentality? Any things that you feel are different? Because it does feel like, in many ways, at least on paper, it is similar to the past few Orlando sides we've seen.
Ever since Oscar got here, he's a really good coach. He's really intelligent, and he really knows how to take advantage of the players that he has, and take advantage of the good things that each and every single one of us has. And he's been very important for us in that regard. The team has been playing really well for the last couple of years since he's been here, and we feel really good. I think we're a very consistent team, and that's the most important thing in the MLS if you want to make the playoffs and have a good run in the cup. So right now we're in a good position to go to the playoffs, and we're in the final of the cup. So I think we should keep our head held high and try to go all the way in both fronts.
You're the most recent product of the Sporting Academy that I've interviewed after Andre Franco from Estoril. Talk to me a little bit about your time at Sporting's Academy. How do you feel that you developed as a player in Alcochete?
Obviously a lot of really good players come out of the academy in Sporting, and Andre being one of them. I was actually a teammate of his for 10 years, so we were always on the same team. We're very good friends, and it's just the quality of players and coaches and everything surrounding the academy that produces those high quality players.
Curious, who was the best player you played with in Sporting's Academy? Was it Andre or someone else?
Growing up, it was definitely one of the best. I would say probably like top 3 or 4. There are a few that I also rate really high, but he's definitely up there.
Sporting's Academy obviously have produced a ton of great players, including the Portuguese midfielder now on Wolves, João Moutinho. I'm curious, was it difficult to stand out as a player when you had the same name as Joao Moutinho?
The comparisons are always inevitable. People always ask me if we're from the same family or something like that, which we're not. It's just a coincidence. It just so happens to be like that. But it is what it is, I guess. I'm trying to be my own person. He's obviously a very good player, with a very successful career, world-class player. So yeah, the comparisons are always inevitable.
Have you gotten the chance to speak with Joao or not yet?
No, not yet.
Hopefully we can get you guys together and do that Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other.
Yeah.
You have mainly played at left back for Orlando, but I'm curious, have you always played in this position, or have you gone through any changes as a player?
I've mostly played as a left back during all my years at the academy and Sporting. Sometimes I played a defensive midfield also, so that's why I think I'm a player that thinks a lot, and it's very cerebral in the game. And also in college, I played center back mostly. So I was more in the middle of the field instead of the line. So that's why I think that my style of play involves me coming inside a lot and not just running back and forth down the line.
Let's talk a little bit about that college experience, because you left Lisbon in 2017 and joined Akron Zips. What was the reasoning behind leaving Portugal and moving to the United States to pursue a career there?
I had that opportunity to go to Akron, which I knew already from research that it was a really good college when it comes to soccer. So I knew that they had a really good program and that a lot of players would turn pro and go into the MLS and have a really good career. And so it sounded like the smart step for me at the time. I could also keep pursuing my degree, which in Portugal would have been much harder to do. So at the time, just sounded like the right thing to do, and I just decided to do it. And I'm really thankful that I made that decision.
I know that you only spent 1 year there, but did you end up getting that degree?
No. I only spent 1 semester in college, and then I ended up getting drafted. So I had to leave it behind.
Gotcha. I'm curious, what were the most difficult things to adapt to when moving from Portugal to the United States?
I think it was really easy for me to adapt. I already spoke the language, and I was in that environment with the teammates all day long. We were either in training or in classes or doing something else, so we were always together. But yeah, the difficult part was just being away from family and friends for that period of time.
This year in Ohio, it saw you win multiple awards, such as the National Freshman of the Year award. Talk to me a little bit about this season in Akron. What was it like playing in this new country? How did you feel playing at the collegiate level?
I felt really good. We had a really good team with a very good coach that would always manage us properly. So we had a style of play where we would press really high and then we would try and play it out the back every single time. So I felt really comfortable with that. I think the way that we played was really similar to the way that I played at Sporting all those years. So I adapted really easily. And for me, playing in that center back role, I had more of a leadership role and starting the plays out of the back, and I really liked that. And I think that my teammates saw that in me and gave me that confidence to do that, and I felt really good.
After a year in Akron, you were selected with the first overall pick in the MLS draft and joined Los Angeles FC. What was it like going from Ohio to California? And did you feel a lot of pressure being chosen with the first pick of the MLS draft?
It was really different going from Akron in Ohio, where it snows pretty much every single day, and then going to LA to such a big city. It's definitely very different when it comes to that. But no, I wouldn't say that I felt a lot of pressure with being the number one pick. I don't really feel all that the pressure all that often. I'm a really calm person, and I think I can deal with my emotions really well. So yeah, I mean, it obviously felt really good to be the number one pick. But once I was in the locker room with the team, I was just another guy. I was just another player trying to give my best to the team, and that was that.
Talk to me a little bit about that year playing for a new team in LAFC. What was it like? How did you feel that you did in your first year at MLS? And yeah, I'm curious. Any things that you remember the most from that year?
Yeah, definitely my first game as a pro in Seattle. For me, that was a moment. That was like the top of my career, just being able to accomplish my dream and become a professional player and play in front of so many people in such an important game. It was the first game of the history of the club, so it was really important. And also the first game that we played at home against Seattle too. It was a really good game, and we ended up getting the winning goal right at the end. So I have great memories from that year I spent in LA.
After a year in LA, you were traded to Orlando City in December 2018. What was it like spending pretty much your entire childhood in Lisbon and then going from Ohio to California to Florida in the span of 2 years?
Uh, yeah, it's definitely very different from Lisbon. Akron, especially. Akron is really cold and really small. I don't know if you've ever been there. Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, it's definitely really different. But then when it comes to LA and mostly Orlando, are more of city-like environments, which I'm more used to, being from Lisbon and all. So yeah, the for me the adaptation was really easy. Here in Orlando, there are a lot of Latinos, a lot of Brazilians, so it's really easy to get along with everyone.
Were you surprised at all by that decision to trade you for Mohamed El Monir after 1 year in LA?
Yeah, I can say that I wasn't at the time. I wasn't really expecting it, but it was the way that the teams decided to proceed. So I just took it with an open heart and accepted the new challenge that was in front of me.
How did you feel in your start to life in Orlando? Did you feel that there was any change in the role, the tactics, your responsibility as a player? What were the biggest things to adjust to in going from Los Angeles to Orlando?
Yeah, I feel like I've had and I still do have a more important role here on the team. I think we depend more on my capability to play out of the back and also lead the team, which is normal because now I'm more of an experienced player in LA. It was my first year as a pro. Now I've been here for almost 5 years. So I think it's just something that comes with the experience that I've already gathered, and I embrace that role and I take it with great confidence and I embrace it with the responsibility that it comes with.
So you went from the home of LeBron to the home of Disneyland to the home of Disney World. Curious, have you had the chance to go to either Disneyland or Disney World? And if so, which one do you like more?
Yes, I went to both. It's not really my thing to go to the attractions. But I like it. I like it here in Orlando a lot. I like it here because the weather is nice and the people are really friendly. So I like it here.
Most people, they see Orlando, they think of the Orlando Magic, they think of Disney World. What are your favorite things about Orlando?
Definitely our stadium. I think it's a really good time to everyone that goes out to our games. It's always very entertaining for the people, I think, and I also like just the part about living downtown and having all the restaurants and bars here close by, and having more of that European vibe.
What is one thing about MLS that you think would surprise a lot of Portuguese people?
That's a really good question. I think most people don't realize the quality of the players that are playing in MLS right now. Sometimes they look at the MLS and think, "Oh, it's a different league. It's a minor league. It doesn't really matter." Maybe in America they don't play all that well, but if they looked at a game and they saw the players that are playing here, I think they would be really surprised.
You had the chance to play with Nani in Orlando. What was that experience like for you? Do you feel that you built a Portuguese chemistry together? And yeah, what was that experience like?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, he came from Sporting's academy too, and he's something that I've always looked up to as a player. With all that he won for both the clubs and for Portugal too. So yeah, we definitely had that Portuguese connection down the left side. It was really good for me to play those years with him. I learned a lot, and he's obviously a very experienced guy and someone that understands the game really well. And he taught me many things, and I'm really grateful that I got to play with him all those years.
Was there any specific advice that he gave you that you've taken with you?
Yeah, definitely. He told me to always pick my times when going up the field, and not just make the run just for the sake of it. Just to have a purpose and try to get in a position where I can get the ball.
Who is the toughest player that you have faced in MLS so far?
Uh, there have been some. I don't really know if I can mention just one and say this is the toughest player that I've been up against. But if I were to tell you, probably the best player that I've played against was probably Giovinco when he was playing for Toronto FC. He's just the quality that he has and the intelligence and the way that he comes out of tough situations with the simplicity and the ease that he has on the ball. It's just incredible.
What players did you look up to growing up in Portugal, and what players did you model your game on?
I don't think I really modeled my game after anyone. I was just going out there on the field and trying to be my own player. But obviously, I looked up to many players, especially the ones that came out of the academy in Sporting. So the one that's obvious for everyone, every Portuguese kid and every Sporting kid is Cristiano. So I always looked up to him and still do, and it's always fun just watching him play and watching him spin in the out.
In addition to Portuguese players like Nani, Orlando has had plenty of Brazilian players such as Ruan, Alexander Pato. What do you think is the reasoning behind this? And I'm curious, did the large number of Brazilians facilitate your adaptation at all?
100%, 100%. Obviously, we speak the same language, so it's always different when you have someone who you can talk to in your mother tongue. And yeah, I think we have a lot of Brazilians because number one, they're really good players. I think everybody knows that. And also there's a lot of Brazilians here in Orlando, so I think it also looks to that aspect of things and attracts a lot of people to the stadium and to the team.
Oscar Pareja took over as Orlando's coach in December 2019, replacing James O'Connor. Curious, between James and Oscar, what do you feel were the biggest changes between the two managers?
I think Oscar really implemented this style of play really well from the get go, and I think that we understood that really fast. And as everybody could see, the first couple of games that we had with him in the bubble, we were playing really well, and we had that system that everyone knew what they had to do. And I think we showed that we were the best team during that tournament. Unfortunately, we lost in the final to Portland. They were a very experienced team and more mature than us, I think, and so they ended up winning. But I think we showed everyone what we were capable of, and that's Oscar's has a big part in that.
Talk to me a little bit about your relationship, not just tactically, but on a personal level with Oscar. How do you feel that he has shaped your development as a player as well as a person?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of his strongest suits as a coach. Is just the way that he gets along with the players and transmits his ideas to them and makes them realize that we're all in the same boat and fighting for the same thing. So yeah, I think in that aspect is really good, really good.
It's been 4.5 years since you were selected with the number one pick of the MLS Super Draft. Are there any aspects that you feel that MLS has changed since your arrival?
I don't know. I mean, obviously there are new teams that are coming every year, and just the overall quality of players is just improving, and the quality of play and speed of play is also improving. The players are just getting better and faster, and I think the league is going in an upwards trend really fast, and I think it's going to become one of the best leagues in the world in 10 to 15 years maybe.
What are some goals that you have for yourself over the next few years? Some goals that you'd like to accomplish as a player?
I really like to go back to Europe. I'm really happy here. I really like to play here, and I've always been really happy here in Orlando. But I definitely have the dream to go back to Europe and play in one of the big leagues and play European football.
Talk to me a little bit about Oscar's tactical setup. You know, how would you describe it in terms of his formation, in terms of his tactics, and you know, what is it about that tactical setup that has, I guess, married your style as a player so well?
Yeah, I think we are a high pressing team. We don't like to let the other teams play out of the back, and I really like that, the way that we press going forward. And when we have the ball, I take more of a central position in the field, and we build from the back with three. And I'm usually more of a center back instead of a fullback. So I really like that because, as I said, I think I'm really good on the ball, and I play out of the back really well. And I think I'm a very intelligent player, and I can always find the right pass at the right time. So that's something that favors my qualities, I think.
I know you've said you don't, you know, you didn't want to model yourself after any other player, but I'm curious, how would you describe yourself as a player? And are there any other left backs or defenders in general that you would compare yourself to?
I don't know if I would compare myself to anyone, but there are some players that I definitely think that I look up to, and I really like to see the way that they play. For example, Zinchenko, that's playing now for Arsenal. I think he's a very cerebral player, and he's always in the right position at the right time. It's not like just pure strength or pure speed. I think is more of an efficient player and more intelligent, and is always in the right place and always ready to make the right pass or the right run.
Very promising signs for the Arsenal fans watching this. Very good player as well as Alexander Zinchenko. What do you feel are the strongest parts of your game? What do you feel are the areas of the game that you need to work on the most?
Yeah, as I've been saying throughout the interview, I think I'm a player that's really comfortable on the ball, and that even with the teams coming out to presses really high, I think I have the technical ability to play out of the back, and even going forward, I think I'm good on the ball, and I'm able to play quick combinations and find the space to get a cross or a pass in. But yeah, sometimes I think I do need to be faster on the recovery runs. Sometimes it's not easy for a fullback to run 50 yards just to get a cross in, and then having to run another 50 or 60 yards back just to stay in position and defend. So that's something that I definitely have to improve.
For sure. It's always great to know what you're good at as well as what you need to improve on. I'm curious though, what aspect of your game do you feel has improved the most under Oscar?
I think my defending capabilities under him have gone up a lot. I've gained a lot of weight, so I'm much stronger than I was before his arrival, and also defending the crosses. I think I've gotten much better at that. That's something that we really keep an eye on in training, and we give our best to stay sharp in that aspect. So I think I've gotten much better at doing that.
Definitely seems like you have found a great environment in MLS, but curious if there's anything, what do you miss the most about Portugal?
Uh, Definitely my friends and my family, but also the food. Definitely the food.
What food in particular? Pastéis de nata, bacalhau.
Yes, bacalhau for sure. That's something that it's really hard to find here and to make. So definitely bacalhau, definitely.
For sure, for sure. Are there any? I know it must be pretty hard to find Portuguese food in Orlando, but have you gotten the chance to experiment with any Brazilian food at all?
Oh yeah. Brazilian food is there are a lot of Brazilian restaurants here, so it's really easy to find. Portuguese, not so many. I found one, and I go there sometimes from time to time, and I really like to go there. It brings me back to Portugal for a little bit. So yeah, so that's good to have that here.
What about with regards to your adopted country? What would you say are your favorite American foods that you've tried here?
Uh, I don't know. I really like the burgers. I really like burgers. I like meat too. So I like a good ribeye, a good steak. So I really like to go out to a steakhouse and eat really well.
For sure, for sure. I'm curious, what do you feel are the biggest differences between living in the U.S. and living in Portugal, as well as the biggest similarities?
Uh, I don't know. The biggest differences for me are obviously living alone here. Back home, I always lived with my parents, so that's something that's really different for me personally. But then again, I'm living in a big city just like I was back home. So when it comes to that aspect of things, the adaptability and the way that I do things on a day to day basis has been really similar to what I was doing back home.
Talk to me a little bit about, your experience living in Florida because I mean, in the US you hear a lot about like Florida man, people just doing some crazy stuff. You think of alligators, you think of all this like
Yes.
crazy stuff and I don't know, it's a very interesting state, Florida, but talk to me about your experience, the highs, the lows, and yeah, it's some anything that surprised you, any
Yeah.
moment.
A lot of my friends send me that weird stuff and talk about Florida that way. But that's something that you don't feel on a day to day basis when you go about your day. That's something that you don't think about. Yes, there are some crazy people and some crazy stuff happening here. But it's something that you don't see every day.
For sure. And have you gotten the chance to explore any other areas of the states? Obviously, you've lived in Ohio, Florida, and California. Have you gotten the chance to, travel and visit any other areas that you've enjoyed?
Oh yeah, I've been to Tampa and Clearwater, and I really like the beaches over there. And I've also been to Fort Lauderdale. And yeah, I think Florida is a very beautiful state, and it has a lot to offer and a lot to look. So yeah, I really like living here.
Interesting. Do you like the beaches on the Atlantic side or the Gulf of Mexico side more?
No, the ones on the Gulf of Mexico more.
Really?
Yes, 100%,
Why is
100%.
that?
I don't know. I think the sand is cleaner, and also the water just feels different. I think the beaches are more beautiful on the other side.
Let's go back to, what you were mentioning earlier. I mean, your contract set to expire at the end of the year. Talk to me a little bit about your contract situation. How do you feel in Orlando? Do you feel that it's time for a change? What is going through your mind right now?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I feel really good here. The way that I was received from the get go was really good, and I felt at home from the start. And I've always felt like that here, and I still do. And I'm really happy with being here and being a part of this team. I know that we're set out to achieve big things, but at the same time, I always had the dream to play in Europe, and right now I think it's the right time to do it. And yeah, hopefully by the end of the year I'll be able to make that happen.
So right now, in July 28th, 2022, obviously a lot of stuff can happen, but right now, do you feel like you are entering your final 5 months in MLS?
Maybe yeah. We'll see. As I said many times, I really like being here, but but I want to go back to Europe and hopefully play in one of the big leagues over there. So we'll see what happens.
Obviously, you've had the chance to play in Portugal. Curious, your contract's set to expire at the end of the year. You've got plenty of options. You don't have to have your club negotiate. In the event of a free transfer. Is there one league or one team or one city in particular that has come to your mind a lot in terms of looking for a potential option?
Just playing in one of the big leagues. So Italy, France, Spain. I really like Spain. Germany too. That would be ideal. That would be my main goal, and we'll see if we can make that happen.
Do you still follow the Portuguese league at all, or do you follow any other leagues?
Yes, I do. I do follow the Portuguese league up close. I still follow Sporting really well, and they've been doing really well. So I'm really happy for that. And I know that they have a really good team this year. So hopefully they will have a good season again.
Did you get to celebrate and party when they won their first league title in 19 years last year?
I was here at home. I was here at home by myself, but I called a few of my friends and we celebrated via FaceTime a little bit. So that was fun.
MLS, it does have there are quite a few differences with, be it that promotion relegation, be that the calendar as well. I'm curious, what's it been like playing with that unique MLS calendar as opposed to what we've seen in other European leagues?
Yeah, at first it was weird for me playing from March to November or December, but it's something that I've gotten used to doing. But there are definitely some hard stuff that comes with that. For example, playing here in Orlando during the summer, right now in July and even in August with the heat and the humidity, it's really tough. It's something that I had not experienced before, not in Akron nor in Portugal. So that was a really big hit for me, having to play with that heat, with that type of heat under those conditions. But it's also something that I've gotten really used to because I've been here for quite some time now.
Orlando, doing very well and looking like they will be posed to make a deep run in the playoffs. I'm curious, what do you feel is going to be the biggest key, the biggest make or break to achieving your objectives? And also, what are your objectives for this season with Orlando?
We want to win the Open Cup. Obviously, we're in the final. That's one of our big goals. And then we have to think about making the playoffs first, and then going game by game and trying to win the league. That's always been our goal. It is very clear for every single player in the locker room that we wanna win the league. And in order to do that, we have to be really consistent, because when it comes to the playoffs, it's just the games are just different. You can do really well in the regular season, and then you end up in a matchup on the playoffs, and there's a red card or there's something weird happening in the game, and you lose it, and the whole season is over in a heartbeat like that. So you have to be really focused and really consistent in those games, and play in a very experienced and mature way. Because if not, your season might be over in a second.
MLS, they don't have as many Portuguese players as, shall we say, Brazilians, Argentines, but there are a growing number. We've seen you, Nani, Pedro Santos, few more coming to the league. Curious, this is your chance to make an argument to those young players in Portugal. What would you say to them that, and how would you convince them that MLS is the right move for them?
It's a really good league, very competitive. It has more and more on them every single day, and it's growing really fast. So it's going to be one of the big leagues for sure. I'm sure of that. And it's also a very good league for the young players to showcase their talent and then trying to go somewhere else. So it's a very good league.
Assuming that you do leave to Europe at the end of the year, what is one thing? What is the thing that you are going to miss the most about Orlando, about MLS, Florida, whatever?
I think just from living here in Florida, just the weather. The weather every day is really hot, and it feels really nice just to wake up with the sun, with the heat, and that's something that sometimes in Europe we don't have the pleasure of having. So that's something that I'm really gonna miss. I'm sure of that.
Very good, very good. Yeah, Orlando, Florida in the winter time, I think might be the best weather in the United States. So very
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
very good. One last question. What is one thing about Joao Moutinho that most people do not know that maybe they'd be surprised to know?
It's really hard to answer that question. I think you would get a better answer from my mom if you and you asked her that question. I think you would have a better answer. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm a really simple person. I think I go about my day to day and just try to get better at what I do, and I focus on that. So that's that.
Joao Moutinho, absolute pleasure to be speaking with you. Really excited to see where you end up in the next few months, and wishing you all the best over the next few months with Orlando.
Thank you so much, Zach, for having me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.